Hello and welcome to Crypto News. Today is May 9th, 2025, and here are the top cryptocurrency news stories. We'll start today's episode with the Texas House of Representatives committee approving the Bitcoin reserve. To clarify, the bill passed the committee and is now headed to the floor for approval from there, so we see that this particular reserve is currently in the works. Moving on to America, let me tell you that one thing that is not moving forward is the stablecoin bill called Genius, which failed to pass a vote in the Senate. For this reason, it has been canceled, so America will not have a stablecoin bill for the time being. Moving on to our ETFs, we'll obviously go to Bitcoin ETFs, where not much happened on May 6th and 7th. On May 6th, we were down $85 million overall, and on May 7th, we were up $142 million, with BlackRock on May 6th having $36 million in shares, and on May 7th having $37 million. On May 8th, we don't know what it did. It's currently at $48 million on the day. The only observation I want to make is that, as we know from Crypto News, BlackRock in the previous days had huge inflows into its ETF, and on May 6th, those inflows suddenly stopped. Let me say now that if we look at the price of Bitcoin, we'll notice that BlackRock bought all of that here in those days, and literally on May 6th, when the price suddenly went up, they stopped having such huge inflows. It may be a coincidence, it may not. Let's also say that BlackRock reveals that its spot Bitcoin ETF has earned $32 million in the first quarter of 2025 alone. Now moving on to our currencies, let's move on to XRP and the US Securities and Exchange Commission SEC. Let's say that the SEC announced a settlement on behalf of XRP. This settlement stipulates that Ripple's CEO and executive chairman, will deposit a total of $50 million with the SEC to settle the case, as stated in the announcement. Let's recall that Ripple, in March, had disclosed an agreement that mentioned $50 million as a settlement. Let's also say that the district court judge had ordered Ripple to deposit $125 million just last year. If this new regulation is approved by the court, Ripple will only pay $50 million and the remaining $75 million will be returned to Ripple. Moving on to Ripple news, we move on to Wellgistics Health, a healthcare infrastructure company that will integrate XRP and related technologies into its payment network to simplify transactions between pharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical suppliers, and pharmaceutical manufacturers, as the company said on May 8th. This is, as you can imagine, very good news for XRP. And finally, we are starting to see cryptocurrencies being used more generally in the outside world. This adoption is happening, and I say it again, very good news for XRP, because its network will be used more by this particular company for payments for its products. Moving on to XRP, one last piece of news I will tell you is that, according to some reports, perhaps Trump was tricked into promoting XRP. Specifically, President Donald Trump is being manipulated by a lobbyist affiliated with Ripple Labs into announcing that XRP will be part of the US Reserve. According to a May 8th report by Politico, a subordinate of Trump's friend, Brian Ballard, gave the president a message in a social media post. The text is the one known to list which cryptocurrencies will be in the US Reserve. Trump later learned that Ripple was one of Ballard's clients, which angered the president. He felt he had been taken advantage of, Politico reported, citing two people familiar with the matter. He is not welcome in anything anymore, said Trump, referencing Ballard according to the report. Moving on from these reports, we go to our beloved Alex Mashinsky, the CEO of Celsius, the platform that collapsed, who we now learn was sentenced to 12 years in prison after pleading guilty to fraud. Moving on to our news, we move on to Meta, that is, Facebook, which is looking to re-enter the stablecoin market. According to Meta, it is looking to use stablecoins to manage payments, as reported by Fortune. Let me remind you that Facebook in 2019 created the Libra stablecoin, which in 2022 became Diem, and then was completely abandoned due to legal pressure. The teams of these two coins went on to create SUI and Aptos. Now it seems that Meta wants to re-enter the stablecoin market, and perhaps the time is right, because we see that everyone is more friendly with cryptocurrencies at the moment. Moving on, we'll go to Sei and look at a move the team wants to make, as the team behind Sei has proposed a fundamental change to the network architecture that will end support for Cosmos. If that happens, the team plans to fully transition to Ethereum support, claiming that this move will simplify the blockchain and improve the experience for developers. So as you can see, Sei wants to abandon Cosmos and fully support Ethereum. This, as I said, is a proposed change by the team, which may not pass. However, since it's it's the team that's building it, it has a good chance of passing. And moving on to our latest news of the day, we'll go to the NFT collection called Doodles, which is seeing a huge increase in the price of its NFT ahead of its planned airdrop. Let's just say that the sales volume of this NFT has doubled in the last 24 hours, surpassing $1.1 million. And if we go to Crypto Slam, we see that on the 7-day chart, the sales of this collection have increased by 371%. As in other cases, this NFT collection wanted to issue its own coins, and those who have the NFT, of course, will be more profitable than those who do not, which is why this NFT collection has grown so much during this period. Moving on to our favorite cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin is at $102,000, with the price making this big green candle after I finished yesterday's episode. Let's say that Bitcoin is currently above Amazon and Google. I don't know if you've heard of them in terms of market capitalization, and the next target is Nvidia. Now let's say that the reason Bitcoin has gone up so much is that it was heard yesterday that the United States is going to sign an agreement with the United Kingdom based on this announcement by the President of the United States. And after that announcement at 4 a.m., there was this video here where the President of the United States says that they signed an agreement with the United Kingdom, essentially on tariffs between the two countries, making things fair for both countries. You know, on top of that, it's heard that India is also close to signing a trade agreement with the United States on tariffs, apparently. And maybe this is the right time for India to do that, because as we know, India has been launching attacks on Pakistan after the massacre in Kashmir. So maybe this is the right time for better relations between the United States and India. And maybe that's why they're actually making a trade deal with Trump, which will help the price of Bitcoin a little more. That wraps up the top news for crypto today. Is May 9th, 2025. I'd like to remind you that the content you just watched is created for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, but rather as investment opinion. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and feel free to comment. Take care everyone, and have a good day.